Such a good show. All right, guys, it's that time. Put your hands together, make some noise, and please welcome your host and moderator from Huffington Post, Lauren Moraski, and today's guest, the one and only, Justin Hartley.
How's everyone? It's good to see you guys.
Yeah, thank you, Justin, for being here.
Of course.
You are on one of the best shows that we are on TV right now.
Thank you for saying so. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Is it weird to watch yourself? We were just watching the clip backstage. Is it weird to rewatch those scenes that you shot?
Well, I haven't seen them.
Yeah.
So that was the first time I had seen that clip all the way through, or heard it at least. And is it weird to watch yourself? Sometimes it's weird to watch yourself, particularly like when you're bad. It's difficult, but this show has been such a blessing for me in so many ways, and one of them is that I'm able to watch myself because I sort of get lost in the story that the writers are writing for us, and I work with such a wonderful cast that I truly, when I watch the show, I'm a fan of the show, and so I kind of forget that I know all of these people, including myself. We've become all really good friends, so I watch them, and I admire every single one of them. I love these guys, and they're like my family, you know. And so when I watch it, I truly forget that I know them. I'm just enjoying their work. So
that's pretty amazing. Was it an instant connection that you guys had on set?
Yeah, it kind of was. You know, I think one of the thing that drew us all together mostly was our love of the script. So we read the pilot, obviously, and we all love it so much. And we had that in common before we even really kind of knew each other. And then from there, you get to meet these characters, and everyone is so different. They're all so different. And I love them all equally. They're great. They're like, Milo always says when he looks at Chrissy and me and he looks at Sterling, he sees his children, which is kind of funny because he's like younger than me, and we're the same age or whatever. But it's interesting, yeah.
But on the show, he's your dad.
On the show, he's your dad, yeah.
And that's the confusing part. There were a lot of surprises and twists throughout this all. How early on do you find out about those? It's pretty cool, actually. Dan, our creator, our head writer, he just believes in sort of telling the actors whatever they want to know. So, all actors work differently. Like, so some actors don't want to know anything. Am I holding this way too close? How does it sound out there?
Does it sound way too much? Is it good? Okay. So, some actors don't want to know anything, and he respects that. And then some actors want to know everything. I'm one of those actors that wants to know everything. So he'll tell you whatever you want to know, as long as you're on the show. So we know quite a bit. But I will tell you, every time I read a script, though, and I know it's coming, I think, but then you get involved in the story, you get too wrapped up in it, and you're like, oh, I forgot it was coming, and then at the end, they get you, So.
It is an emotional show. We were talking earlier. Some people saying it's so depressing, but it's really, I don't know. I absolutely love it. So I'm hooked on it. I can't wait for tonight because it's going to air on a later time slot because of President Obama's farewell speech,
which is important to listen to. So we'll listen to that, and then we'll get right into the This Is Us, and we'll answer that question, that cliffhanger about Toby. We answered that right away.
Right. So last season, well, it's the same season, but the Christmas episode, essentially, we found out that Toby has a medical emergency.
Yes.
So I understand we will find out right away what happens.
You find out right away within the first 5-10 minutes, something like that. I don't even think it's 10 minutes. I think there's like 5 minutes. You find out what happens to him, and then we kind of go from there, and you see how that. Even though you find out what happens early, it affects storylines going forward a lot. And so, it's a thing that sort of sits there. I don't know. I don't want to ruin it for you, but it's very emotional, very, very emotional. But I will say, very a la This Is Us, we also are going to make you laugh. And so you got sort of a glimpse of that with the clip that you played. But it's a very funny show as well. So I think we get away with breaking your heart because we also make you laugh, which is kind of cool.
It's so true. Kevin, your character and his sister Kate are really close. Do you think it's going to affect their relationship a bit?
The Toby
storyline?
Well, yeah, I mean, it already has. Kevin's used to having this situation with his sister where she just sort of like takes care of everything, right? He doesn't really do anything. He doesn't know how to do anything. I don't think he knows how to make a bed. There was a scene earlier in the show where he's moving, right? And so he's going to go do theater. He's going to be, I'm going to be a serious actor now. I'm going to go do theater. By the way, TV actors, we're serious actors, okay? So this is so bizarre but he's going to go do theater and, sort of reinvent himself. And he's obviously has to pack, and he can't figure out how to pack. I mean, the guy doesn't even know how to pack, so, but yeah, I think the relationship that Kate has with Toby has already affected Kevin in that she's less available to him than she was before. So he's sort of got to take his training wheels off and kind of figure this thing out on his own.
Do you think we'll find out a little bit more about his backstory?
Kevin's?
Yeah.
So I'm glad you brought that up.
Okay.
Just so happens that I'm here and I can answer that question for you. So one of the things, if you guys are watching the show, one of the things that I love is what's coming up for Kevin. There is a backstory bombshell that the smartest people in the world, you won't see it coming. And then when it happens, it's going to explain a lot of things that he's been doing. And then, and also it's going to make you wonder, like, well, what the heck is what's he going to do? And he goes after something. You'll see him go after something with like vigor, with force, like all in. And it's kind of cool to watch him be passionate about something, that passionate about something.
Yeah, because we're seeing him dabble with the play and everything, and he left the Manny.
He's doing the play as best as he can, and he's trying to figure that thing out. And but this is something different.
And what about his love life? We saw him with Olivia, and now we see Sloane, a little tease of Sloane. What can you tease us about that?
That look, Kevin's trying. He's sweating this one, dude. He's like trying to make it work. He's an honest guy, so sometimes the truth may hurt. But he's trying. He's doing the best that he can in certain situations, and so he wants everyone to like him, and he's trying not to hurt anyone's feelings. But sometimes I think in life, that happens. It's the way things unfortunately go.
Yeah, I think that's what's so appealing about the show is that there's so many real life situations that you can relate to. What do you think, in addition to that, resonates with so many people?
Well, I think it's just that, mostly the fact that we have such a diverse cast and such a diverse group or such a, broad-ranging stories on our show that I think we touch people from all generations and from all walks of life, and no matter what your sex or your religion or what you believe in or what you don't believe in or where you come from or where you're going, I think we have stories on our writers are so good. We have these stories on our show with our characters where when you watch it, at least as an audience member, for me as a fan also, you feel like the show is kind of speaking to you specifically. And I think that's what people want. And I think that's what they need right now is, at least I do when I watch something, I want to be moved, and maybe even sometimes I don't realize it until it's happening. And then I go, well, that's what I needed. I needed to be moved a little bit, So I think we do a really good job of that. And also I keep going back to how funny the show is.
Yeah.
And it's not like we're telling jokes on the story. We're not telling any jokes, but it's situationally, it's hilarious, isn't it?
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. It has the best of both.
I say we laugh through tragedy sometimes as well. Like there are these horrible things that are happening and you're like, oh, wow, I've been there. That's horrible. That's a horrible thing, So.
What's been your favorite scene so far?
Oh my gosh, I've had so many. I've been lucky enough to have these writers write so much great stuff for me. There was a scene where I described he's not a painter, but he paints, and there's a scene where I'm talking to my nieces and I'm describing to them what life is about and what my painting is and what the play is about, and essentially it's what our show is about. It's what This Is Us is about, is essentially what I'm talking about, and that's one of my favorite scenes. There was an audition scene that I had where he just absolutely bombs this audition, and it was the way they shot it that it was like this 5-minute, when you're watching, like I was sweating watching it. I felt so bad for him. He bombed this sucker.
Yeah.
And I've been there.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, shut up. Maybe that's happening now.
No.
No. But But yeah, I've been there, and it's that uncomfortable thing where you just want the guy to like, you just want to shut it down. You know what I mean? You're like praying for a house fire kind of at that point. But I've been lucky. I've had a lot of good stuff.
Yeah. What about your worst audition in life or your best one in life?
Oh my gosh, my worst one in life. Yeah. So you guys are in for a treat. No one's ever asked me that.
Okay, good. At least I pulled out one that no one's asked.
But I do have one.
Okay, good.
And I always said, you know what, I'll answer the question if anyone ever asks me, but no one's ever asked me. So now that you've asked it, yes, I'll give you the quick version.
All right, we'll take it.
Okay, so cut to the end, I didn't get it. All right, but what happened was, and I won't tell you what show it was, but I walked in, and I pride myself in being very prepared, and so I was very prepared, I was ready to go. I have no idea what happened, but all of a sudden, I forgot all of my lines, all of them. I forgot I didn't remember anything. Like, I forgot how I got there. I didn't remember my name. I don't know what happened. I think I had like a Manny meltdown type of situation. Another one of my favorite scenes, by the way.
Yes.
But I started to improvise, and it made no sense. I think I was talking gibberish, and then this was way back in the day where casting directors used to have VHS tapes that they stacked on their desk. And I guess you would send in a VHS tape or whatever, this is my client's reel, like an agent would, and then they would pick up the VHS tape and they would put it in and they would see if you were good or not or whatever, and then they would call you in. I don't know how I got in this room, but this guy, I changed his mind like toot sweet, man.
Oh.
This guy, I knocked over a couple of the videotapes on his desk, and then I was so embarrassed that I made a joke out of it, so I just knocked over a couple more, and then I kicked him. I kicked the tapes. Oh, God. I went in there to try to get a role, and I walked out there like, you know, a vandal and with no job and ready to move back to Chicago because I was positive that I didn't know how to act anymore. It's grueling, man. Sometimes you just feel horrible, but then there are times where you feel great too. So
yeah, I mean, we're glad that you got the audition. The audition for This Is Us went well. Obviously,
that was actually the audition that I just described to you. Yeah, no, oddly enough, it wasn't.
Quick take on that audition. What was that like?
That was great. I didn't destroy any personal property, which is always a plus. Let's see. I remember reading the script. And I remember my friend called me and he said, do you know Dan Fogelman? Dan Fogelman's the creator of the show. They go, do you know Dan Fogelman? I said, yeah. And he goes, how long have you known him? I said, I don't know, like years. And he goes, you guys hang out a lot? And I said, no, I don't know him. I know of him. I've known of him for years. I don't know Dan Fogelman. I don't hang out with Dan Fogelman. And he's like, are you sure? Because I think he just wrote you in a script. And I was like, what? So I immediately call my agent. My agent's like, we're already on it. We got you an appointment. So I go in, and I just had it in my mind, I have to figure out a way to get on the show. And I hadn't had that kind of like, I'm at a loss for, I don't even know what the word is. It's not focus, but I hadn't had that kind of like determination in a long time. That's probably not the right word either. But I think I willed that to happen, kind of. And I just went in there and I gave my own take on the character. And it ended up working out. Thank God.
Yeah, good thing for us. It's not like we haven't seen you on television before. You were on Passions for so many years.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got some Passions fans.
Wow, there's some. Yeah, okay, all right. I still get people stopping me for that. That was like back in the '60s.
Yeah. Well, you were on it for like 5 years or something. Yeah.
No, 3.
3? Oh, only 3. Okay.
Yeah, but it lives forever, babe. I'm telling you, that stuff. It never goes away.
Do you still like keep in touch with some of the cast members from that? Or,
I do.
Yeah?
I do. One of my best friends played Ethan on that show. His name is Eric Martzov. He's one of my best friends.
Oh, that's awesome. So you got that away from him.
Yeah. So I still keep in contact with him. And let's see. Yeah. I try to keep in contact with a lot of people from my different shows that I do throughout the years.
Sure. Do they ever talk about a Passions reboot? You know, everything's being rebooted at this point.
I haven't heard. About a Passions reboot.
Yeah.
I don't see that happening in the near future.
A couple of fans out there, though.
You never know. It maybe like if it comes about, you should audition for it though. If it comes about,
just don't knock over any VHS tapes.
No, try to stay away from the VHS tapes. Yeah.
Oh, has life changed for you since you've been on This Is Us?
Well, I'm here with you, fine people.
Well, yeah.
So that's good. A little bit in that I think I've never been a part of a project that has resonated with people the way that This Is Us is resonating with people, and I don't think I've ever been a part of a project that's this that so many people watch. I could be wrong, but I don't think I have. And well, let's be honest, I haven't. Not even close. But no. But people, instead of people walk up and they feel obligated or like obliged to tell me how the show has moved them, or how it made them cry. And one of the things I've never had so many women walk up to me and tell me that I made them cry, and they're like not trying to hit me. They're like smiling about it, which is kind of an odd thing. Usually that's not a good thing. My mother always told me don't make women cry, but they like it, I guess. So it's nice to be a part of a show where you can make women cry.
That's a good thing. Have you cried ever watching the show?
Yeah, absolutely. We're right there with you. I've cried reading the scripts. I have cried watching the show, and I know what's going to happen. So I've already read it. I was in it. I know what's going to happen, and I can't help it. It's just, it's like I said, it speaks to you. It really does. Our writers are, they're out of this world.
And at times, Kevin has had a hard time getting into his emotions on the show.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting
block.
kind of, he has that block. Maybe we'll, go power through that a little bit this winter.
Yeah.
What about the kids on the show?
Amazing.
They're incredible to watch. What do they like to act alongside? Do they look up to you guys for tips on everything?
Well, you know what? They don't need any tips from me. They're great actors in their own right, and they're fantastic at what they do. And oddly enough, just logistically, I don't work with them.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So I see them in passing. We smile at each other, and I was like, God, I'm a cute kid. He's way cuter than I was, by the way, at his age. I'm like, what are you made out of? Clay? Like, who chiseled you out of? He's like this big, and he's like the most handsome man on the planet, that little guy. Kind of makes me angry. But he's a sweet kid, and he's a great actor, and they're all good. They're all good.
They're really, really great. You guys are at the Golden Globes on Sunday. Congratulations for the nominations there.
Thank you very much. The nomination was great, and then that's right. We didn't bring home the trophy, but you can't win them all. Maybe we'll win one of these days. But to get nominated is great, and that whole event is fantastic. You're looking over your left shoulder, and it's the first time I'd ever been. So you're looking over your left shoulder and your right shoulder and everywhere, and they're just like these amazingly talented, hugely famous people standing around you, and it's like a little bit surreal. I'm still kind of sinking in, actually.
Were you starstruck by anyone in particular?
Well, I don't necessarily get starstruck as much as I do just like, that's interesting. I had Carl Weathers, so the guy, it's Apollo Creed, guy, let's be honest. Apollo Creed stops me in the hallway on my way to my table, and he's like, your show is amazing. I love your show. You're doing great work on the show. And I just thought, in fact, I didn't think it, I said it. I said, this is the coolest thing that's ever happened to me, man. And he was like, what? And I was like, this is the coolest thing that's ever happened to me, man. I didn't know what to say because I'm like, and then I keep saying I should have asked him to punch me. You know what I mean?
Now that would have been all over social media.
I would have loved that. I would have been like, just hit me. Punch me like Apollo Creed. Treat me like Rocky.
Not to get a little serious, you mentioned the Manny and the breakdown that you had.
Right.
But Alan Thicke was in that scene with you, and he was so memorable and so great. Unfortunately, we lost him way too soon. What was he like? I know you probably didn't know him for too long, but
I didn't know him for too long. I knew him for it was way too short. We became friends rather quickly, and he's a big hockey fan, and he would invite me to these hockey events, and invited me to All-Star weekend, which is coming up, my birthday weekend, and that's the end of January. So he is truly, he's very charismatic, very charming, makes everyone laugh, makes everyone feel better. He does everything that you're supposed to do, that you want to do as a human being. He makes you feel better. I'm better off for knowing him. And so there's that. And then I got to work with him. And then separately from that, he did one scene on our show. And it is one of the most memorable scenes thus far on our show. And that's a man that did one scene. And so separate from all that wonderful human stuff, he's just a talented actor as well. So he had the full package, and he was always smiling. And I got to play softball with him at Dodger Stadium, which was fun. And he had the time of his life. And he was just such a there was a youthful, boyish charm, wonderful, likable thing about him that was just great. He was very easy to love, quickly.
Wow, that's so great. Well, I'm glad that you got a chance to
me
know
too.
him.
Me too.
We only have a few seconds left, but the storyline with your parents on the show and the Miguel situation.
Oh.
Will we find that out as soon as we will find out Toby, or is it going to take a little bit longer?
It takes a little bit longer, okay. So I can't tell you what happens, but I can tell you that it takes a little bit longer, but you will find out. There's an event sort of that happens between the two of them that, it either goes this way or this way.
All right, we have a lot in store for us. Before we wrap, we have lots of questions from the crowd here. Let's get it rolling.
Cool.
Yes. Hi, Justin. So I guess my question is kind of piggybacking off of what Lauren just said. For me, the most devastating moment was, no offense to Toby, I'm sure he's fine. Nothing bad happens.
You don't know that he's fine. How do you
nothing bad happens on Christmas Eve.
You don't. But see, that's the irony of the title of the episode, right?
Yeah.
You don't know what happens.
I know, but
No, you don't. Listen.
No.
Wait. Don't. Hold on. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead. Sorry.
I forgot where I was going.
What's your name, by the way?
Well, for me, the most devastating moment was finding out that Jack had died.
Oh, okay.
So when you found that out, I know you can't say anything. When you found out, how did you react? How did that moment make you feel? When you found, I guess
that's a great question, okay. But I got a really cool answer for you that you probably don't. That's a really cool question. What's your name, by the way?
Liz.
Liz. Okay, so Liz, great question. And here's the thing: in the pilot, the first script that we had. Originally, it was scripted and we filmed it, and if you watch it, you might be able to. They're probably going to kill me for saying this. You might be able to see it if you rewatch the pilot. I think it's on Randall's back. His line when he's talking to William and they're looking at the photo is he says that he died. My father died, and they took that out of the pilot. So. That was originally I knew that when I read the pilot before I started the show. I knew that Jack had died. I think one of the cool things about our writers is that they're able to do these things where you feel like constantly that they're like pigeonholing themselves into like these story things, or now they have to tell this story. Why are they going down? They're like painting themselves into a corner, kind of, right? And they're not. They're just really, really smart, and they're really great writers. So that has happened to me so many times on the show where I just realize that they're a lot smarter than I am. And they're constantly like figuring these things out before I can. So for me, it was a little different than it was for you all, because when you guys found out that he had died, you were probably like, wait, that's our guy. That's our main character. What the hell is this? But for me, I knew it before I read the script. So I have a little different perspective. That's a great question.
Thank you.
Thank you, Liz.
Hi, Justin.
How are you?
First, I want to say I love you since Passions, Aquaman, Emily Owens.
Oh, you watched all of the stuff that no one watched.
But
okay.
My question is, you play an actor on this show. How much of yourself do you see in the character?
It's a good question. What's your name?
Cindy.
Cindy. Okay, good question. Quite a bit. I would say I see as much in. I'm as similar to Kevin as I am not so much. It's probably equal parts, He has there are a lot of things that we have in common. He has a lot more of some of those things than I do, and there are a lot of things that he has a little bit of that I have a lot more than he has. He's very narcissistic, I think, but he's working on that, and I think he's very, very insecure, but rightfully so from what he's gone through, and he's working on that. We're all a little bit insecure, but it's a matter of degree, right? I like to think, I love Kevin. I like to think that I'm funny, but there aren't, maybe I'm the only one, I don't know. But I like the way that he handles adversity with humor. I like that he's self-aware. I like that he has become aware of how other people perceive him, and that he doesn't like that, and so he's working on that. He's trying to change that. So we're alike in a lot of ways. He cares an awful lot about what other people think about him, which I've sort of gone away from. And I think it makes you healthier when you're not. I'm more concerned about being a good person than I am about what other people think about me. But Kevin's working on that too, and yeah, we're the same height and weight. I hope that answers your question. And thank you for watching Aquaman, and thank you for watching Passions. I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
All right.
Hi, you mentioned that you don't have direct screen time or interaction with the child actors on the show. But I wondered two things about that. One, when you see them play their scenes, how, if at all, does that inform or affirm the way you play the personalities as adults? And also, how much are you aware of those backstories before you're acting out their journey as adults?
It's a great question. We have the benefit as, I think, the older cast. When I say older cast, I mean the adults. Chrissy's not old. Sterling and I are. As the adults, we had the benefit of sort of shooting our stuff first, I guess. And so maybe, I read it, but I don't get a chance to watch what they're doing until I see it, until it's done. So I don't know if the work informs what we do as much as the script does. And I can't speak to them because they're not here, but it's probably the same way. I think the present informs the past, and then when you watch what's going on in the present, it probably informs what they do as well. I don't know. So it's a nice sort of one hand washing the other kind of thing. But I think they're great. I mean, they are all doing so well, aren't they? I mean, they're doing great work. And what was the second part of the question? Or did I answer all of it?
Yeah, just how much you're aware of that backstory.
Oh yeah, no,
so
yeah.
That it feeds into your
performance. So
performance.
the backstory, we're definitely aware of the backstory through the reading the script. Yeah, more than watching it, because like I said, we don't really get to watch it until it's done. So, good question. Thank you. What's your name?
Shayla.
Shayla. Good to meet you.
Great, thanks. I think we have one more question.
Cool. Hey, man.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm still doing good.
Okay.
Well, we met earlier, so
Yeah,
that's
we
why.
met a couple times earlier.
Yeah, a couple times. Hopefully, maybe a couple more. So my question for you is:
Yeah.
You've played a lot of memorable characters. Outside of Kevin, do you have a favorite character and why?
Outside of Kevin, do I have a favorite character? Man, I've been so lucky, to be honest with you, to play characters that I think I've loved all of them. I mean, it's hard to say. I really enjoyed playing Green Arrow in Smallville a lot. Oh my gosh, I loved my time on Revenge as well. Gosh, it's hard to say. I mean, the one that sticks with me is probably Smallville, because it lasted I was on that show for like 5 years, so it's probably one that sticks with me the longest. But I've loved them all, and I like how different they've all been, and every job that I've had, they've sort of let me do certain things that are, you figure it out as you go along a little bit, and you have, these wonderful scripts that are like, they protect you and everything, but I've had some great bosses, I really have, and which in turn makes you sort of do whatever you can to create a great character. But probably the Smallville character, Green Arrow, yeah, I thought that was a lot of fun. I love that crew too. I mean, they're great crew, and we were all up in Canada together, and Tom and Michael and everybody. It was just a fantastic time.
Great.
Thank you. Good to see you again.
Thanks for all the wonderful questions out there. And Justin, thank you so much for coming to Bill
thank you
today.
for having me.
It
Are you
was such a
kidding me?
pleasure.
Thank you.
Check out This Is Us tonight, 10 p.m., but not next week, 9 o'clock next
Right.
week. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Justin.
Thank you so much.